from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening and welcome to the National News broadcast brought to you live from the National News Studios here at the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. Well, I am Dishan Veerakone.
And I'm Sharifah Tahir. A very good evening to you. And first off, let's take a look at the headlines.
Sri Lanka foreign reserves increase up to 2.7 billion US dollars. Price of 12.5 kilogram of litro domestic gas cylinder reduced by 1,005 rupees. Laugh gas cylinder reduced by 1,290 rupees. Fuel quota for vehicles to be increased. Cabinet approval to pay the basic salary of the state workers contesting for the local government polls. A special train schedule for the New Year season from today. Another 3 billion rupees to purchase paddy in the Maha season. 15 square kilometers left for Sri Lanka to become a land-mine-free country. NASA names the first woman and African-American man on moon mission.
We now move on to those and other stories in detail. Foreign reserves of Sri Lanka has increased up to 2.7 billion US dollars.
Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has decided to maintain the policy rates at their current levels. A media briefing was held this evening to announce the monetary policy review with the participation of the Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Weerasinghe.
Monetary Board decided to maintain the policy interest rates at the current levels because the Monetary Board believed that the maintenance of tight monetary policy stance is needed to ensure that monetary conditions remain sufficiently tight to facilitate the continuation of ongoing the disinflation process. And this is amidst the developments that we saw with the IMF EFF finalization, the positive market sentiment, and also the downward shift of the market interest rates with the falling risk premia, with more clarity given on the domestic debt optimization operation. Therefore, the policy interest rates, the standing deposit facility rate remains at 15.5%, standing lending facility rate remains at 16.5%, and statutory reserve ratio remains at 4%.
Bank Governor made remarks over the debt restructuring process.
So the progress is bilateral for the IMF program. We got the financing assurances, and then we made the presentation to all the bilateral commercial public presentation. On that basis, we continue to have engagement going forward parallelly, both with commercial creditors as well as bilateral creditors, on the basis of probably, if you can remember the timelines, what are we going to discuss, what are the data, all these things were discussed. So we will move in that direction, the way that we presented in that presentation. The budget support, as I explained earlier, this is when government gets budget support, means government receives dollars into the account, and this is up to the government to use either if they have debt service payments in foreign currency, they can use that. If they are converting, can use that directly and give us instruction to settle all these debt service payments. Anything remaining, they can sell that to the central bank and take rupees and spend for local expenditure. Is to engage with both official and commercial creditors parallelly. As a parallel and the engagement with both official creditors, we had already started this in the process of obtaining financial assurances. Next one is based on the financial assurances, we now need to start engaging debt negotiations on terms and conditions, all these things that will take place parallelly, and at the same time through our advisors they will engage with commercial credit parallel basis, and also Paris Club and on bilateral Paris Club and Paris Club separately and collectively. So we are working on modalities.
In the meantime, domestic gas prices have reduced effective from midnight today.
Accordingly, steps have been taken to reduce 12.5 kilogram litro gas cylinder by 1,005 rupees, and Laugh's gas cylinder has been reduced by 1,290 rupees. Chairman of the Litrogas Limited, Mudita Piri, speaking at a media briefing held this morning, said that the 12.5 kilogram gas cylinder, which was at 4,743 rupees, now can be purchased at a price of 3,738 rupees. Price of a 5 kilogram Litrogas cylinder has been reduced by 402 rupees. Accordingly, a 5 kilogram gas cylinder can now be purchased at the price of 1,502 rupees. The price of the 2.3 kilogram gas cylinder has been reduced by 183 rupees and can be purchased at 700 rupees. Chairman of the Litrogas Limited, Mudita Piri, said that the gas cylinder prices were reduced mainly due to global market gas price fluctuations, strengthening of the rupee and the price formula introduced by the President through the Finance Ministry. He said that the continuous strengthening of the rupee would reduce the gas prices further. Litrogas Limited has said that preparations have been made for the island-wide distribution of gas stocks for the upcoming festive season. Chairman of the Litrogas Limited, Mudita Piri, said that the required stocks will be stored from tomorrow morning until 12th evening. Therefore, he said that public should not inflict any unnecessary fear over a possible gas shortage. The price of 12.5 kilogram LAF gas cylinder has been reduced by 1,290 rupees and the new price is at 3,990 rupees. The 5 kilogram LAF gas cylinder price is reduced by 516 rupees and the new price is at 1,596 rupees. Chairman of the LAF Gas Limited, WKH Vegapitia, said that they expect the global market rates will continue to decline and a favourable condition will prevail, allowing the company to extend the benefits to the consumers accordingly.
Now, President Ranil Wickremesinghe has directed the government to take steps to increase the existing fuel quota from midnight today for the New Year festive season. Accordingly, the fuel quota for passenger special three-wheelers has been increased from 10 litres to 15 litres, while the quota for the general three-wheelers have been increased from 5 litres to 8 litres. Meanwhile, the fuel quota for motorcycles has been increased from 4 litres to 7 litres, while the quota for buses has been increased from 40 litres to 60 litres. The quota for cars has increased up to 30 litres from 20 litres. In the meantime, the quota for land vehicles will also be increased from 15 litres to 25 litres, lorries from 50 litres to 75 litres, quadricycle from 4 litres to 6 litres, special purpose vehicles from 20 litres to 30 litres, and vans from 20 litres to 30 litres.
Cabinet approval has been granted to pay the basic salaries of the state workers contesting for the local government polls. Accordingly, State Minister Janaka Vakkumbura, while speaking at the Parliament today, said that the basic salary from March 9th to April 25th will be provided. State Minister Janaka Vakkumbura said that the Cabinet approval has been granted to provide the basic salary from March 9th to April 25th. Therefore, he said that the state workers contesting for local government polls will receive their basic salary before April 10th.
Now, special train services have been initiated for the upcoming Sinhala and Hindu New Year festive season from today until the 17th. Now, accordingly, the Sri Lanka Railways has said that the special train services will be deployed in addition to the normal train journeys and long-distance train journeys. Steps have been taken to deploy a train from Colombo Fort to Badulla at 7:30 p.m. today. This service will operate on the 6th, 12th and 16th. Another train service will be deployed from Colombo Fort to Badulla at 6:30 a.m. from tomorrow until the 16th. The relevant train expected to reach Badulla by 5:15 p.m. This train will not operate on the 14th. Meanwhile, steps were taken to deploy a train from Badulla to Colombo Fort at 5:20 p.m. today. The relevant train will operate on the 6th, the 12th and the 16th. Another train will operate between Badulla and Colombo from 6th until the 17th. This train will not operate on the 14th. Steps have been taken to deploy special train services on the coastline and the northern line. Accordingly, a train will operate from Colombo Fort to Galle at 7:20 p.m. The relevant train will operate on the 15th and the 16th. Another train will be deployed from Maradana to Beliatta at 6:05 a.m. on the 6th. A train service will be operated from Anuradhapura to Beliatta on the 9th and 16th at 12:30 noon. A train will deploy from Galle to Colombo Fort at 6:10 a.m. on the 16th and the 17th. Another train service will operate from Beliatta to Maradana at 3:30 p.m. on the 6th. Meanwhile, a train service will operate from Beliatta to Anuradhapura on the 8th and the 15th at 7:30 a.m. Now, Cabinet spokesman Minister Bandula Gunawardena says the President has promised the professionals that the proposals pertaining to a possible relief which could be granted for the pay tax effective on the allowances of the state workers will be presented at the next round of discussions with the International Monetary Fund.
He made these remarks while speaking at the media briefing held at the Government Information Department today to announce the Cabinet decisions. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that the professionals representing various sectors have presented factors pertaining to the taxes on allowances with the President. He said that the government had to agree with the tax increases in order to achieve the set income targets when reaching an agreement with the IMF. Accordingly, he said that the President has promised to present the proposals pertaining to a possible relief at the next round of discussions. The minister pointed out that the inability to misplace 360 million rupees obtained from pay tax and said that the Indian Revenue Department should take the responsibility in this regard. He said that a request has been made to the State Minister of Finance to launch an inquiry in this regard.
Now, Professor Sunil Ariratna has been appointed as the Chancellor of the University of Visual and Performing Arts. Now, the relevant appointment was a 5-year tenure made by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Professor Sunil Ariratna, as a scholar, has extended an invaluable service to the field of arts of the country in the capacities of a renowned lyricist, a film director and a researcher and a poet. Joining the Sri Jayewardenepura University as a lecturer in 1985, he was elevated to the post of professorship in 1994, becoming the youngest professor of the country. After leaving Sri Jayewardenepura University in 2015, he was elevated to senior professorship. Professor Sunil Ariratna, who has written many songs to various artists, from veteran artists Pandit Amaradeva, Nanda Malini to new age singers, is considered as one of the scholars who channeled the art of Sinhala songs into a new dimension with his prowess. He has written lyrics for around 40 Sinhala films and bestowed with many accolades, including the Presidential and Sarasavi Awards. He entered the Sinhala cinema by directing the film Anupama and has authored many research volumes in his career.
The government has allocated another 3 billion rupees for the Maha-season paddy procurement program. Earlier, the government had allocated 10 billion rupees for the purchase of paddy from the farmers. The provisions have been used for the purchasers. Steps were taken during the cabinet meeting to provide another 3 billion rupees for the purchase of new stocks of paddy according to the requirement. The purchasing of paddy in the Maha season is carried out through the district secretaries and divisional secretaries. The purchased paddy will be converted into rice and distributed among 2.9 million low-income families for a period of 2 months. Each family will receive 10 kilograms of rice each month. Further steps will be taken to extend the 2-month period by another couple of months if necessary. The Ministry of Agriculture has indicated that the program is underway based on the instructions of the President. Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, says that he condemns the Anti-Terrorism Act 2023. Speaking at a media briefing today, His Eminence Cardinal requested all to put in the effort in rejecting this act.
Equally disturbing is the defining of obstruction to essential services as an act of terrorism. 32F, such as health and medical services. This means that all those in the health and medical service sector will not be able to go on strike for their just rights. These provisions are counter to the freedom of expression because it is the right of the workers to engage in strikes to gain their legitimate rights, which is a universally accepted procedure. These provisions are all quite arbitrary. Taking all of the aforesaid into consideration, a grave concern would arise that the application of the said anti-terrorism bill would impose direct threats on the sovereignty of the people enshrined by our Constitution. A threat to the fundamental rights guaranteed to our citizens, risk of causing a disruption in the maintenance of the rule of law and the doctrine of the separation of powers in this country, and accordingly not even be compliant with the international law obligations. Therefore, it is our view that at a time when Sri Lanka is pursuing a path of rebuilding the nation, it is critical that the rule of law, the independence of the judiciary and democracy in this nation should be necessarily defended and upheld selflessly without making any legislation which in fact casts doubt on the genuine intentions of the government in the repealing of the said Prevention of Terrorism Act.
Trade unions collective staged protest action in front of the Fort railway station today, demanding the government to retract the Anti-Terrorism Act objecting the sale of state assets and resources. The protesters, while sharing their views to media, said that the government is exercising oppression in an effort to stay in power. Accordingly, they had claimed that the government has made a tremendous attempt to suppress protests and objections. At the beginning of the protest, senior police officials in charge of the area informed the protesters not to engage in the protest march. The protesters said that the protest will only be held in front of the Fort railway station. In the meantime, Dutch ambassador in Sri Lanka, Bonnie Horbach, says that the Dutch companies are eager to explore investment opportunities in renewable energy, eco-labeling and sustainable agriculture if Sri Lanka can showcase a corruption-free business environment. He made these remarks while speaking at a media meeting held by the lead Chamber of Commerce recently. The Dutch ambassador highlighted the importance of engaging with the EU Green Deal and upcoming mandatory responsible business requirements. She assured that the Dutch government continues to implement the existing projects in the areas of training and technology transfer, especially in the agricultural sector, including the poultry industry in Sri Lanka. Responding to Horbach's interest in facilitating high-level bilateral business engagements, including organizing a business promotion mission to the Netherlands by the Dutch Embassy this year, Ceylon Chamber of Commerce Chairman Vish Govindasamy requested her support to enhance exports and tourism. He appreciated the support received by the dairy industry in Sri Lanka through various projects implemented by the Dutch Embassy and requested similar assistance to identify the opportunities for the agri-sector, including bilateral business engagements in the Netherlands.
Now, former senior professor Atula Senaratne of the Department of Geology at the University of Peradeniya pointed out the tendency to occur tremors in the western province, including Colombo. Now, he said that tremors have occurred surrounding this area since 1615. Professor Atula Senaratne has said that Sri Lanka, Africa, Madagascar, India and Australia once remained as a supercontinent 200 million years back. The geographical position of Sri Lanka had occurred after gradually drifting away from India for many years, and the senior professor said that Sri Lanka once remained connected to the Indian subcontinent. He pointed out that unusual characteristics can be observed in the depths of the ocean following the drift away of the countries. He said that due to the geological disparities within the inner oceanic region of the Colombo area, tremors may occur in the surrounding parts of Colombo. He said that further studies should be carried out to reach a better understanding over possible tremors.
Sri Lanka Army Humanitarian Demining Unit says only 15 square kilometer area is left for Sri Lanka to become a landmine-free country.
Now, following the conclusion of the humanitarian operations in 2009, 1,328 square kilometers was identified as mine and explosive infested hazardous areas. On December 8, 2005, the General Assembly declared that April 4th of each year will be observed as the International Day for Mine Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action. North and east parts of the country were identified as hazardous areas of explosive remnants, especially mines, after 26 years of terrorist activities and war. Even though the humanitarian operations concluded in 2009, the Sri Lanka Army commenced the demining process for the first time in 2002. In addition to the Army, other local and international non-governmental organizations are involved in the demining operations. Out of the 887 square kilometers of area that took over by the Sri Lanka Army for demining, only 0.76 square kilometers of mine-infested area is remaining to be cleared. Also, out of the 441 square kilometers of area took over by the other organizations, only only 14.68 square kilometers of mine-infested areas is remaining to be cleared as per the Sri Lanka Army Humanitarian Demining Unit. The largest mine-infested area is in the Mullaitivu district, while minor hazardous areas have been identified in Kilinochchi, Mana, Vaunia, Jaffna, Batiklo and the Trincomalee districts. Sri Lanka Army Engineering Corps pointed out that only a few mine-infested areas are remaining in Polonnaruwa and the Anuradhapura district at present. Now today is the fourth day of the Sundara Nureliya Salalihini Vasantaya 2023.
Many special programs have been organized in various sites including Gregory Lake until April 25th. The national television is the media sponsor for Nureliya Salalihini Vasantaya.
දුර බැහැර සිට නුවරඑළියට පැමිණියාම පිරිසිදු ආහාර වේලක් ලබා ගන්නට තැන් සොයන බව. එහිදී ඔබට කිසිදු බයක් හැකක් නැතුව සුරක්ෂිත ආහාර වේලක්.
Public health inspectors attached to the Nuwara Municipal Council are making an effort to ensure hygienic safety of the food offered for those who join the festival. Therefore, those who visit Nuwara should not have any unnecessary fear to consume the food offered in approved eateries in the area.
Now, the first batch of 10 female gantry crane operators in Sri Lanka have successfully completed their training. Now, the newly trained operators received their certificates at the Ports, Shipping and Aviation Ministry recently. The female gantry crane operators received training up to 4 months, which included theoretical and practical training courses. So the Sri Lanka Ports Authority said that 8 female yard crane operators trained at the Mahapula Port and Maritime Academy are already engaged in services at the port terminals at present. The female gantry crane operators will be utilized for services in the near future. The awarding of certificates was held with the participation of Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva.
The Committee for Preparing a Suitable Mechanism for Monitoring the Activities of Local Government Institutions met at the Temple Trees yesterday. The meeting was held with the participation of Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. The committee is consisted of the governors, district coordinating committee chairpersons, including ministers and members of parliament, provincial chief secretaries and district secretaries. Decisions were taken on a range of issues to be implemented through the committee, including the continuance of various projects implemented by the local government institutions, management of financial allocations of those institutions, supervision and maintenance of all related functions and other matters. Addressing the gathering, the Prime Minister said that the governors and district secretaries should amicably support this program without any hesitation. He also stressed that people must be able to receive and maintain the services of the local government institutions without having to face any inconvenience. A unit where the service is available during 24 hours will be established for every local government body to facilitate the implementation, he added. The inauguration ceremony of the National Television's 2023 Sri Lanka Piri Aurudu Siri New Year program was held this morning with the sponsors at the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation premises.
All preparations are completed to conduct the Senehase Aurudu Siri 2023 New Year Festival at the Delgoda Public Grounds on the 15th of April. The ceremony was held today to officially announce the sponsors who have come on board with the national television for the New Year Festival. The ceremony was held with the participation of Chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, W.B. Ganegala, Director General Asanga Jayalat and senior management of the corporation.
රස මැලිබන් හැවිලි පෙවිලි. අලෙවි කළමනාකරු මැලිබන්
Welcome back, and we move on to news overseas now. The US space agency NASA has named the 4 astronauts who will take humanity back to the moon after a 50-year gap.
Christina Koch will become the first woman astronaut ever assigned to a lunar mission, while Victor Glover will be the first black astronaut on one. They will join Reed Weissman and Jeremy Hansen to fly a capsule around the moon late next year or early in 2025. The astronauts won't land on the moon, but their mission will pave the way for a touchdown by a subsequent crew. 3 US citizens and 1 Canadian were present to the public in a ceremony in Texas. They will now begin a period of intense training to get themselves ready. In selecting a woman and a person of color, NASA is keeping its promise to bring greater diversity to its exploration efforts. All the previous crewed missions to the moon were made by white men, and Weissman will be the commander with Glover as his pilot. Koch and Hansen will also act as supporting mission specialists. The quartet are essentially repeating the 1968 mission carried out by Apollo 8, which was the first human space flight to reach the moon.
The Artemis campaign emissions have set some.
Former US President Donald Trump has been consulting lawyers at Trump Tower in New York City as he prepares to face criminal charges in history today in court. He has been under investigation over a case involving a 2016 hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels. He has said he is innocent and is due to plead not guilty. The charges he faces will be disclosed in full at the hearing, which is scheduled for about 14:15 local time. Trump, who's 76, will surrender amid tight security measures are in place, with the authorities expecting protests outside the Manhattan court today. Police made plans to separate supporters and critics outside the barricaded courthouse, where news outlets had lined up overnight to get access. Although Trump has drawn tens of thousands of fervent supporters to rallies across the country, it was unclear how many would travel to his heavily Democratic hometown, where automobile travel is difficult.
Welcome back. Now taking a look at your sports stories for tonight, focusing on the Indian Premier League. Now Chennai Super Kings managed to secure a 12-run victory in the Indian Premier League match played against the Lucknow Super Giants. Now the match was played in Chennai yesterday.
Batting first, Chennai Super Kings scored 217 runs for the loss of 7 wickets in their 20 overs. Ruturaj Gaikwad scored 57 for Chennai. Mark Wood and Ravi Bishnoi picked up 3 wickets each. Chasing a victory target of 218, Lucknow only managed to score 205 runs in their 20 overs. Moeen Ali picked up 4 wickets for Chennai. Piliyandala Central College secured a 7-run victory against Horana Takshila Vidyalaya in their annual one-day encounter. Batting first, Piliyandala team scored 149 runs in their innings. Takshila College had scored 97 runs for the loss of 4 wickets when the rain interrupted the match. Accordingly, Piliyandala Central College won the match according to the Duckworth and Lewis method.
Well, that's a wrap of tonight's Primetime News Bulletin here at the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. And until we meet again next time, do take care and good night.
Good night.